We're finishing, with God's help, the Sikha that we began called Dvar Malchut, that the Rebbe spoke in 1991, Tafshin Nun Aleph. Very, very powerful Sikha about who exactly the Rebbe is. Not exactly, but as far as we're concerned. And that the Rebbe is the prophet of our generation. The Jewish people depend on prophets, on prophecy and on prophets. But of course, there has to be true prophets. And basically all the religions in the world, they come from false prophets. People that stand up and say that they have messages from God, that this is the way people should act. And it's false because people shouldn't act that way. The world is supposed to act according to it's called 7 no-eyed commandments. And as it says in Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, what is it, 16:19? It says in the Rambam brings it, my martyrs, that the non-Jews will realize, all the religions will realize that they have been fed lies, and that the religions are simply, the believers certainly have good intentions, but and it could be even the propounders had good intentions. But the fact of the matter is it's not true. So we have to have a true prophet. In our generation, we also have to have true prophets. We have to have true prophets. And those are the tzaddikim, etc., in every generation. And in our generation, said the Rebbe, the dominant example was the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. And of course, the Rebbe is also speaking about himself. And we can see that there were amazing prophecies by the Baal Shem Tov and his pupils, and especially those Rebbes of Chabad, that they're prophets. Prophets are like the advisors, so to speak. And then there's also those who tell us shoftim, tell us what exactly is God wants. It's also part of the prophecy that they've got. So he says, by means of accepting, by means of our accepting. This is all based on the idea that the only time that God really spoke to people and told them exactly what he wants for all mankind was when he gave the Torah to the Jews at Mount Sinai. And Moses said, every generation is going to be a prophet like me. That's this week's Torah portion. Navi Bekir Bechem Akimu Kamoni. There will be a prophet like me. Every generation there has to be one. So the only time that God ever told directions what man is supposed to do is when he gave the Torah. Except for that, there's times God says he spoke to Bilam, spoke to Lot, and right, he spoke to the other evil people temporarily, tell them don't do anything bad, tried to warn them. But when God gave the Torah, that's the only time that he gave orders to all people. Everything else, anyone else that says that it's not true or that they have orders that there's a change in orders, they're liars. It's not so. But you have to have a prophet every generation in order to inspire the people to feel the truth of the Torah. So that's what he says, in order to, by means of accepting and fulfilling what it says in this Torah portion, Shoftim v'shotim titen b'chol sha'arecha, and also what Isaiah the prophet said, that Hoshiva shoftayach harishona v'yotzea k'vatchila, that I will return the judges like it was in the beginning, and the advisors in the onset. Onset means to actually begin. So Isaiah is saying that the prophet, the redemption is already begun. As soon as you accept these prophets, the redemption has already begun. It's not said by means of this. When you start to accept, is by means of this, it makes a sort of a beginning of the fulfilling of the prayer that we pray 3 times a day. Return our judges like in the beginning, and our advisors like the onset. And that's what does it mean? That people will actually change from the inside. People will really be interested only in truth. People will be interested. Why am I really here in the world? Really? What is this idea of the Torah? God gave it to 2 million people in the middle of the desert. And the Geula Mitit Fishlema, that's the idea when everyone starts to really think of this and follow the true leaders of the generation and not their own false religions, is that's already the beginning of the future redemption. How much more so when it says Sof Masa Machshavat, it says that the final results was already in God's mind in the beginning of creation. Like it says that if you look in the Torah, it says that the Ruach Elokim Merachefes al Pnei Hamayim, right in the beginning of creation, it says that the Spirit of God was floating on the water. It says that's the Spirit of Moshiach. So it was there in the beginning of the world. How much more so? Allah has come of how much more so? Shazeh Kavar Gam Bedibo. We've already begun talking about it. Just the fact that we're talking about this is already bringing it into the world. That's prophecy. Kanahug, like we've done in the recent past, that things should not just be written down where you think about it, but also to speak about it. And especially hine ba geula, and especially the news, to say it, behold, the redemption is coming. We're in the process. According to this, now we have an answer to the question that people ask about all the things that we've talked about. And they say that we've talked about it, we said that the future redemption can come immediately, in one instant. The Holy Temple can fall from heaven, and everybody, the Rebbe brought in a sikha that there's one opinion that even today, Kohanim are not allowed to drink wine, because a Kohen is not allowed to serve in the Beit HaMikdash if he's drunk. We haven't got a Beit HaMikdash. What's wrong with drinking wine? It says because the temple can come from heaven, the redemption can occur, and they'll still be drunk. It says, you know how much time it takes to remove drunkenness according to the Torah? Unless a person is really out of it, right? It takes either going to sleep and waking up, or 25 minutes maximum. In most opinions, 18 minutes at the time it takes to walk a meal. In other words, it could be from right now, when there is no holy temple in Jerusalem and the Jews are all scattered around the world, and physically and spiritually, as it could be that in 24, in 23 minutes and 59 seconds, it could be that the Beit HaMikdash will be here and the Kohanim have to go to work. And therefore, that 1 second that they're going to be drunk and they won't be able to serve in the temple, that's wrong. That's wrong. So they have to always be ready. Okay, the law is not like that, but the fact of the matter is that it's a valid opinion, which comes to show that it's very possible that the temple could come. It's not the reason that it's not, the law is not like that, is not because it couldn't be, the temple could be. It's because there'll be other Kohanim will serve. Not every Kohen has to serve. So a Kohen can get drunk nowadays if he wants to, and then he won't be able to serve in the temple. Okay, they'll find other Kohanim. But the fact is the redemption can come within 23 minutes from now. But if you say a thing like that, at first, how can it possibly be good? We're saying it's happening, but how could it possibly be such a thing? And you can talk about this and convince people, and that the redemption is going to come so quickly. How could it possibly? How will people react? How can your family react to this? Are you telling them this redemption is going to come in a couple of seconds? They'll think Daddy is okay. He's talking wishful thinking. What's the world going to say if you come with such a bizarre message? The Holy Temple is going to come from heaven. It's going to be built in less than 23 minutes. Now all the Jewish people are going to run to the land of Israel. Future redemption is here. How can you say things like that? Says the Rebbe, they've got a good point. If these things are talking about, if what I'm talking about is the redemption and it's a new thing, so okay, you could maybe use a place for a question. But because the future redemption is not a new thing, but all the matters of the of the future redemption. They've already begun. And the world has already accepted this idea that there's no tachton, not tachton mimenu. We've spoken about it. Here we can see these ideas have come into the world, and because there are already these judges and prophets and advisors in the world, and they're already talking about this topic of Mashiach, the true idea of Mashiach. So it's not such a big, amazing, incomprehensible, and not acceptable idea to say that the redemption can come immediately. In other words, it's already begun, and we're already talking about it. So simply, Balmadnu b'hisvados chasidus b'dalar amosav shel kavod kadosh moriam cham. Simply, what are we supposed to do? Now that we are sitting in a Farbringen, a Hasidic Farbringen, a Hasidic gathering, and we are in the place where the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe learned and prayed. And not only that, he says that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe is here with us. Tzaddikim never really die. I mean, nobody really ever dies. Nobody really. That's the idea of the raising of the dead. That's the idea that there are certain people that says that they get wiped out, that they don't raise up in the raising of the dead. But no, especially the Jewish people, nobody really ever dies. And the soul is always there. And in an completely unexplainable way, the body is also there. That's the idea of the raising of the dead. The dead, physical dead bodies will raise up and they won't die anymore. So that's going to happen to everybody. It's not so weird to say that it's going to happen with the previous Rebbe. And there's a lot of opinions that say the Mashiach will come from the dead, or what appears to be dead. You can look, there's Rashi right near the end of the book of Daniel, like the second to the last Rashi. And he says the Mashiach is going to come back from the dead after 45 years. The Gemara itself says that if the Mashiach comes from the dead, he's going to be Daniel. Daniel was a direct descendant of King David. Each and every person, men, women, and children, they have to accept on themselves a firm resolution and firm resolutions to do all of the orders and the ideas and the advice which is given to them in this Farbringen. The Rebbe is saying about himself that he's the prophet of the generation, he's the advisor of the generation, he's the judge of the generation, and now he's beginning the redemption by telling people what to do. This is everything he's saying is founded on the written Torah, on the oral Torah. All of the rabbis, all of the teachings of all of the Rebbes of Chabad before him, of course, according to the Shulchan Aruch, according to that first of all, Shoftim titen lecha. First of all, you personally have to put judges on all of your gates. Okay, ready? Here's the orders. Put judges on all of your gates. What is then? This is the 7 gates of a person: his 2 eyes, his 2 ears, the 2 nostrils, and his mouth. Put guards on them. Watch what goes in, watch what comes out. That they should be conducted according to what the Torah says, according to what it was given by the rabbis in general, and especially by the Shofet and the Yoetz Hador, especially by the Rebbes of Chabad, the leaders of every generation. And even more detail, just like there is a judge and a prophet in every generation, and this is one of the basic foundations of Judaism, that always and in every place there must every place there can be revelation of godliness in the world, because the only way to reveal God is through the Torah. Al derech zeh, similarly, who is gam b'pratius betoch Yehudi atzmo, also betoch, inside of every Jew himself. Every Jew has a soul. The soul of every Jew has two souls. The soul of this other soul of the Jew, the soul is a spiritual thing, but God is not spiritual. God is not limited to being spiritual. God is the creator of the spiritual, right? And every Jew has a godly soul, a part of the creator inside, chelik elokah, a part of God from above, really, like it was in the Holy Temple, the Holy of Holies. Mamish gam kepirusho shezeh kayam ba'ofen nitzchi. Every Jew has an eternal soul, which is inside. In every single Jew, we just have to reveal this, and that's going to be what the whole world is going to be like. The world will be like one huge person. A Jew, even as he is in this physical world, he's got a part of God inside of him. And this is the message. Put judges and advisors in all of your gates. Means like this, that the advice and the directions of the shofet, vayoetz, the judge and the advisor of the whole world, namely the Rebbe is speaking about himself, should be drawn through the judge and the advisor, which is inside of each and every one of us. In other words, there is a general human being that he is the judge and the advisor of the whole entire generation, but also each one of us is a small world. And we also have within us the judge which is within us and the advisor which is within us. And this we should put on all of our gates, like we said before, the 7 gates, and also our physical limbs, what we do with our hands, what we do with our feet, where we go, what we see. Shalom munagim al pi gimel amochim shalo shoftayach. Shalom of his should be, everything that you do should be according to your judge. What's your judge? Your intellect, and your advisors, which is your heart. What does your heart tell you that God wants? Seichel umiros the nafshu alokis, namely the intelligence and the emotions of your godly soul. And your godly soul always wants to do what God wants. But when God gave the Torah, he didn't make up ideas. The Torah was there before the world. God just revealed ideas. All the other religions in the world, those are made up. Those are inventions. When God revealed the Torah, he didn't invent anything. He revealed truth. He revealed the principles upon which reality is based. And we can reveal that inside of our souls also. Especially when God gave the Torah, it says that his voice permeated all being for all time. So every non-Jew in the world knows somewhere down deep that it's bad to kill, the 7 Noahide commandments. It's bad to kill, it's bad to rape, it's bad to take, that homosexuality is bad, it's bad to steal. They know it inside of themselves. The problem is to bring it out. Society can drive you crazy, etc. Halomeret umevina et Torah. It's almost like now, in Germany, a lot of the people, they can't believe that they used to be so incredibly cruel. Everyone agreed with this cruelty of just killing people. They killed like 27 million Russians. They just bombed, Belgium. They just bombed Poland. They just bombed places, killed people, went in and raped and murdered, right, with great joy and now they can't really understand how they did it. They can't. How do they do it? Because people know what's right, but you can get swept away. You can get tricked. The main thing of Moshiach is going to take away all the foolishness and the falseness and the trickery and the lies from the world. And everyone will start to listen to the true conscience they have inside of them and not to all these false religions that are directing their lives and driving them crazy. And the truth of all these religions, there is a bit of truth. No one would accept it. The truth of it always comes from the Torah. Befrat, and especially according to what's explained by the Shofar Ador, the judge of our generation, that's the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he brings this into our emotions. We should bring it from our intellect into our emotions, love and fear, and etc. Namely, that you should, the way you learn Torah should be learning that brings to action. And it should be an action. That's why they have nowadays, they have this, Kabbalah centers and Kabbalah clubs and Kabbalah learning, but it doesn't bring to action. The main thing of Kabbalah and learning any type of Torah is that it's supposed to bring to action more love and fear and awareness of God in doing the commandments. The main thing is the commandments. It has to come into action. Action. Whether we're talking about where you look, whether we're talking about what you hear, whether it's talking about what you smell, whether it's talking about what you speak and what you taste, etc. And of course, your deeds. In each and every one of this, in each and every one of these senses that we've got, these gates, they should be balanced with right and left, doing good and turning from bad. The right side is doing good, and the left side is turning from bad. And that's the 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 2 nostrils. And also it says that the mouth can taste. It says that the palate eats and tastes. Where's the double over there? There's only one mouth. It says there's sweet taste and there's bitter taste. In other words, what does it mean? Shahorot Shofet, that the teachings and the orders of the judge, and which basically that's what the whole Torah is, and especially what's called the awareness and intelligence of the godly soul, which all it wants to do is just what God wants. This surrounds, makifa, it encompasses. It should teach us and tell us how to conduct ourselves in every instant and in every detail of life. Like it says, matamim, lashon rabin. Like it says, to make all of life into something that's tasty. Sometimes you have like a piece of meat. Very rare are people that eat raw meat. Raw meat is not very tasty. But if you know how to put spice on it, you know how to cook it properly, then it becomes really, really tasty, right? A good steak of this. I mean, I particularly don't like good steaks, but people who do like it, it's a tremendous pleasure. Tremendous. The eating, right? This is that King Solomon was a chef. It says to make the whole world into matamim, to make the world into good tasting food. It says what that Yaakov made matamim. He brought it to his father Yitzchak to get blessings. Same thing. God put us into the world in order to spice up the world, to make the world, to prepare it so that it's tasty, it's good. Like it says in the Tanya, Hein inyanim she'im metukim. These are things that are sweet, or whether things that are bitter, external, but we reveal inside of them that really in the inside, a davar hamar, that the sweet thing, that this bitter thing, we can make it sweet. And not only that, a better type of sweetness than natural sweetness. It's a better type of sweetness than this type of sweetness. You bring a person, right, a cake that's really good, right? A person orders a good cake, it could cost a lot of money. So we don't have a cake, but here I bring you an apple. So I don't want an apple. An apple is sweet. It's good. It's good. It's nice. But if you know how to make a cake properly, it's more tasty, right? So, but sir, listen, I mean, let's think about this for a second. The cake itself is made from ingredients that you wouldn't want to eat alone. Just take a spoonful of sugar and put it in your mouth. Right? Even a spoonful of honey and put it in your mouth. Very rare there's people eat a spoonful of honey. Flour, who can eat flour, right? Nobody wants these things. So I put them all together, and now it's really tasty. But think of what it's made from. So that's the whole point. It's made from things that aren't so tasty, and by means of proper working on it, makes it tasty. That's what the whole world is. The whole world is in itself not so tasty, but we can make it tasty by transforming all of the apparent bitterness and over sweetness of the world, right? And the world pretends to be sweet, all the desires and lust and things. Lust, it says in Mishlei that the licentious woman, that her lips dripped with honey. She says, come, let's have a good time. And finally you realize that it's bitter as death in the end. Often, in a way, shekol pratim, that every detail of a Jew should be permeated and directed by means of the directions of the shofet, of the judge and the advisor of his soul. So all the Rebbe is doing is just activating things that are inside of us. This truth that was revealed at Mount Sinai, that permeated the whole world when God gave it, says that everybody's souls jumped out of their bodies. That's what happened. It permeated everyone's soul. And similarly, in a more general way, every single man and woman, every single Jew, and every single Jewish man and woman, they themselves are a judge and a advisor. The Beitam of their families and their children. You have to conduct your house according to what the Torah says, not just yourself. Yourself is very good, but also your household. Advise your children, try to direct, be a positive influence. Even more, that every single Jew, not just your household, your neighbors, until every single Jew, men, women, and children, they'll all accept on themselves to do follow the directions of the judge and the advisor of the generation. In other words, it's going to come from the inside. It won't be from fear. I mean, you'll be afraid of doing the wrong thing. You'll be afraid of lying and lying to yourself, lying to others. Umashpiim kach al ishto al bnei beso. And every person that you can reach, the Rebbe said, you come across a non-Jew in your work, tell them about the 7 Noahide commandments. You're not in the world just to make money. You're in the world to have a good effect on other people. Until the whole entire world, so that all of the world, even the world is from the language of Helem, concealment, Olam and Helem, even the most concealed parts of the world where godliness is totally concealed, and all of the details and the details of the details, that everything will become a Reshuta Yachid, a private domain, Chadur, which is permeated with one and unique point. Namely what? That it all belongs to the creator of the universe. Yechido shel olam, the creator of the world. World is also, like we said, he'elem lamaliyuto, a good type of concealment. What's a good type of concealment? Good type of concealment? Like it says, Yoshet Choshech Sisro. A good type of concealment means that the real, true essence of God is not understandable. Kafisha Magalat Atzmo Bakirbeinu al Yadei Navi Akim Lahem Kamocha. Nasi Ador, which is everything. Tzaddik v'yesad olam. So what's the Rebbe saying? There is transforming the olam, which is totally concealing God, to revealing a good type of olam. What does it mean? To reveal the essence of God, which is by its essence is concealed. By its essence cannot be comprehended. It's totally above not just our understanding, it's totally above the category of understanding. It can't be perceived by any understanding, not the understanding of the angels of the upper worlds. And this will be revealed, the essence of God will be revealed here. And how is this? It's all revealed by the prophet, which is in the generation, that he's totally above everybody else in the generation. And he's trying to tell everybody what the real truth is. Tzadik Yesod Olam. Al derech even shtia. This is going to be something like what it says about the cornerstone. Not the cornerstone. I take it back. Not the cornerstone. In the Holy Temple, there was a big stone, even shtia, and the ark with the tablets was put on it. It was in the Holy of Holies. And in the Second Temple, when they took the ark with the tablets and they hid it down underneath, somewhere down deep, it's still there. But the fact is, it was not available. It couldn't be used in the temple service. So on Yom Kippur, the high priest would come in, and instead of putting instead of burning the incense in front of the altar, he would put it on this Even Ashtia. This is called the stone that the world was founded on. Shtia means hishtitet olam. It's something like this Even Ashtia. It says it was a stone that was the beginning, the foundation stone of the world. And that's where the Holy Temple is. This stone that's found in a certain place in the world, the physical world, it is always without any change. It's not even concealed. It's always there. The ark, it said, was concealed. The ark is still there with the tablets, but it's concealed. It couldn't be used. The stone was not concealed. Like it said, Shofet of Manovi Shekayim Nitzchid. Like it says that in every generation there has to be a judge and a prophet in every generation. This is a sign that there's God in the world, that godliness can be revealed in the world constantly, that it's possible, that from it, the whole entire world was founded, Hushtat. This was the foundation stone of the whole entire world, and it's revealed. It's right there. It's in the Holy Temple. There's all sorts of questions about where exactly it is now, if it's the place where the Arabs built their mosque and things like that. Most opinions say that it's not, but okay. There's two things in this Even Shtia. Number one, this foundational stone. Number one, it's one point. It's one physical, geographical point that the whole world is built on. And on the other hand, even though there's one point, but it includes everything. The whole entire world was founded on it. This is also Shtiya. What is Shtiya? Shat Yudke. Like it says, Yoshet Chosher. It is put there. This is the Yud indicates on the Bittel Shat Yud. This is the level of Bittel of every Jew, the acceptance of the yoke of heaven without thinking. This is like the idea of the judges, that you just have to do what they say without thinking. And Shata, this shows on it's spread out. Shata means to spread out. Like we could see the letters Shin, Taf, and then the Hey. Al derech inyan yoatzar. This is like the advisors. So the Even Shtia, this is one point. That's like the judges. You can't understand it. It's just there, like God's orders are there. But also the whole world is based on it, all the details. That's like the advisors. They go into the details. Even more, this year is Tav Shin Aleph Nun, the year that I will show you miracles. Like I said, now it's not Nun. You can take off the Nun and it still makes sense. It's the year of miracles, right? Erenu Pilaot. Another word for miracles. Niflaot and Pilaot is the same. That it includes inside of it the majority of the letters Tav Shin Yud Hey. Tav Shin Tehei Shanat Hey. I'm sorry, hey, 5,000. 5,700. And then it was 51. This year it's 81. So it's Hey. These are the letters of Shtiya, Even Shtiya. And so it is our year also. Shtiya. But in the Makom Yud comes a Nun. By us, instead of a Nun comes the letter Pei, which this is a preparation for the next year. Niflot Bina. Okay, so that's this year. 1 second. It says, in addition, we've already passed over the 3 weeks of the 7 weeks of comfort. The 3 weeks are already gone. Because the reason is because this is talking about that year, the Tafshin Nun Aleph, and this is already Tafshin Pei Aleph. So it says, the first 3 weeks of the 7 weeks of comfort have already passed. This is, now we're in this, the Haftorah this week is Anochi, Anochi, Hu Menachemchem. We talked about it in the Haftorah yesterday, I explained it. It says these 3 weeks, so God destroyed the temple, the first temple, the second temple, and then after that, we have 7 weeks of comforting prophecies by Isaiah, that God still loves the Jewish people, and they're always going to be a Jewish people, and that God will stop the suffering of the Jewish people, and that God will gather the Jewish people, and that God will bless the Jewish people, and that God will show the Jewish people the reason for all the suffering that they've had, and it'll be amazing benefits. Says God, I myself will comfort you. This is the 4th week. This is the answer of God to what the Jewish people say, Batomer Tzion Azavani Hashem, that the Jewish people are saying that God, you left us. God forgot us. Right? The Jewish people, they start to echo what the missionaries and all these other evil people are saying, that God has forgotten us. So the prophet Isaiah is saying, what are you talking about? How can you say anything like that? But nevertheless, the Jewish people, they've got a good point. What's going on? We're all scattered around. Terrible things are happening. You destroyed the temple. It seems that God has forgotten us. Or in another way, we're saying, Ad matai, how long? How long can this exile continue? How long can this lack of Jewish identity prevail? Then this week's Isaiah said, and this Isaiah answers the words of God. This was like, what, the 2,000, how many years ago? 2,800 years ago. God replies, I will comfort you. I, says God, the same, Agula v'mitit shlema, there'll be a true redemption of all the Jewish people. May it be God's will that by means of our service we just did, and listening to the shoftim, titen lecha b'chol sharecha, that we put judges on all of our senses and our actions, deeds, and thoughts, that we put judges in a way that Ashiva Shoftayach Karishona, in a pleasant way, like the advisors do, then it will actually happen. B'sharecha, namely B'sharecha in the land of Israel. The Jewish people will actually be returned to the land of Israel. Now, it's a very important point, and now is the time, I think, to say that the Rambam says, and no one disagrees with him, no one disagrees with the Rambam, that only Moshiach will bring the Jews to Israel. And the land of Israel, and they'll come to Israel because Israel is a holy place. And the Jewish people are holy people. They won't come for political reasons. They won't come for financial reasons. They won't come for ideological reasons or political reasons, right? They won't come because of that's their race, and this is the race, the land of the Jews, and from fourth time. They won't come because it gives you an identity. I am part of this powerful people. Look at our army. Look at this. The Jews will be gathered to the land of Israel because they want to come to the third temple. And it says that what's our job that we're going to do? It says that the gates of the third temple are sunk. Somewhere that they're there. And our job is to bring them up. God's job is to bring the temple down from heaven. This is what it says. He's going to bring the temple down from heaven. We, by learning these laws of what the temple is, we help it to be built. But nevertheless, what is still in existence of the temple, what's sunk, is the gates. That's what it says. We have to put judges on all of our gates. All of the Jewish people, by means of their service, they will raise these gates up anew. And together with this, the holy temple itself, which is already built with all of its details spiritually. How this is, I have no idea. I mean, for sure, the satellites have not detected something with the pictures but it's there. The holy temple, who knows how many millions of tons it weighs, and all the details. It's there, spiritual, and it'll just be revealed. A huge temple, and then all the Jews will come to it. So it's no big amazing thing that you can say that the Rebbe is still alive. How can the temple is still there? Did you see the temple? No, it's still there. Huge temple. The Rebbe is how much did the Rebbe weigh? I don't know, 150 pounds, 200 pounds. The temple weighed millions of tons, and it's there. And it's really there now. It's just going to come down. Yerid Milamayla, it'll come down from above to below, together with the Holy of Holies, and together with the Even Ashtia Shabbat, and together with this rock, this basic rock. Here the Rebbe seems to be saying that it's not here now. I don't know. Not revealed now. That from it, the whole entire world is based. And now we're after the 15th day of Av. We're already in Elul. That the month of Av, we said, was the zodiac, the mazel of a lion. And the lion is Aryeh, Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Hey, Hoshana Rabbah. In a minute, the custom of the Jewish people is to wish everybody, and I forgot to do this. I sent out a letter yesterday. I sent out the Torah essay that I write, and I forgot to write in the end of it, Shana Tova, Kativa v'Chatima Tova, a good year to, what do you have to write? Forgetting it. The Gamar Chatima Tova, Lashana Tova Matuka. We wish one another. Jews bless one another. You should be written and sealed for a good year, and you should be totally sealed for a good year, a sweet year. The Gashmis Ruchnis, physical and spiritual, altogether. And will God fill all of the requests of the heart of every single Jew for good? It could be there's no bigger blessing than this, to bless somebody. May God fill your heart requests for good. Everything your heart desires that's good, God should provide it for you. Right? Or in a simple way, may God answer all your prayers. And especially the main request, it should be every Jew, Ad Matai, when is Mashiach going to come? Hoshiva Shavtein Kurishona, return our judges like in the beginning, and our advisors in the onset, in the Gula Mitit Shlema, in the true redemption by means of Mashiach Tzidkenu, Takeoff Umiyad Mamash. Shofar, sound the shofar. Yom Yom, and we will wish each other a happy and a good Shabbat. What's going on? Why? What did I do? 1 second. Oh, why it should go? Why isn't it going? Huh? Right, let's stop the share. Start the share. 1 second. I don't know, something is wrong. Why isn't it going from there? Oh, there it is. What screen sharing is done? Why? Well, that's pretty weird. That is weird. All right. Here we go. Okay. Our custom in putting on the talit gadol, you put the talit on your right shoulder, inspect the tzitzis, and you say Borchi Nafshi, remove the talit from your shoulder, open it, kiss the top border, twirl the talis away from you in front of your face, and then you say Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lihit atef b'tzitzit. You put the two right corners of the talit around your neck, over your left shoulder. Interesting why it doesn't say, and then after that you say, 1 minute. Ma yakar chazdacha. It doesn't say, and I've never noticed that. We also say Ma yakar chazdacha, Hashem tzilcha nefechat de'achas. We say a sentence also in the Torah. Good. That's for today. Let's do tomorrow. Oh, here. Good. Why does it say over here Monday? Oh, I guess because they don't want to say that we're all right. In any case, the 6th of Elul, the Tzemach Tzedek said that the Baal Shem Tov loved light. And he said light, or is the numerical equivalent of Raz, or is Aleph Vav, which is 7, Resh, which is 207, and Raz is 207, Resh Zion, 207. Whoever knows the secret in everything can bring light and illumination and happiness and meaning. Have a good day. Have a good Shabbos with Moshiach now. See you all on Sunday, 8:15.